Welcome, everyone. It's Dr. Lindner, and what we're going to be talking about in this lecture is going to be the heart. So, when we look at the heart, very simply put, we're going to say that the heart is a four-chamber muscular pump. Four chambers. Top chambers are called atria or atrium, and the bottom chambers are called ventricles. Okay? And I'm going to make this side of the heart a little bit thicker and a little bit larger than this side. So this is the right side and this is the left side because of anatomical position. So the left side of the heart is thicker in its myocardium than the right side. And I just want you to hold that in the back of your mind, and we'll see if we can come up with the answer shortly as to why the left side of the heart musculature would be larger and thicker than the right side. Now, where is the heart located, and what is the size? So it is about the size of your fist. The location of it is above the diaphragm, slightly to the left of midline. It's in front of the vertebral column, but it's behind the sternum. That exact location is what we refer to as the mediastinum. It is that space that's between the two lungs, between the sternum and the spine, specifically behind the sternum and anterior to the spine. When we look at it, this is what we will see. We could see the right lung has an upper lobe, a middle lobe, and a lower lobe, and the left lung only has an upper lobe and a lower lobe. We could see the heart here, and we can see that the apex, which is this portion, is to the left of midline, right? This is midline. So the apex deviates more into the left side of the body. We could see that it is above this muscle right here, and that muscle is called the diaphragm. And we can see that the rib cage, we can see the ribs here, and we can see the intercostal muscles. So all of that is going to protect not just the lungs, but also the heart. And just keep in mind that these ribs, where do these ribs attach? They attach to the posterior where the spine is. And this is why one of the things that's important to detect early on is if a child has scoliosis, because if there's a curvature of the spine and you have shifting of the ribs, it can compress and affect lung function and heart function. Now let's take a look at the relationship here between the heart and the lungs. Now notice when we look at the heart, you're going to see two different colors. We see blue and we see red. Now, where we see blue and where we see red. So when we see red blood, I want you to think it's oxygenated. And when it's blue, it's deoxygenated. Okay, when we see red, those red blood cells are carrying oxygen. And when we see it blue, the red blood cells don't have oxygen. So if they don't have oxygen, the red blood cells have to be sent somewhere to pick up oxygen. Well, this side of the heart, which is the right side, is going to pump the blood to the lungs, where the lungs will pick up the oxygen, drive them back into the left side of the heart where it's red. So the deoxygenated blood that was on the right side of the heart somehow got pumped to both lungs. We inhaled, we breathe in air, we breathe in oxygen. The oxygen finds its way through these blood vessels into the left side of the heart. Now we have oxygenated blood that can pump to all parts of the body, the head, the arms, the abdominal organs, and the legs. That's the general idea. Okay, so we have blood that has to find its way into this right atrium. And there are two main blood vessels that are going to do that. We see this one here on the top, and we see this one here on the bottom. The one on the top of the right atrium is going to bring blood from the entire upper extremity, meaning the head, the left arm and right arm. When all the blood is deoxygenated, it has to find a way to get back into the right atrium. So it's going to use this vessel that's called the superior vena cava. And all the deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body has to find its way in from the inferior vena cava. They bring blood into the right atrium. From the right atrium, blood flows into the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, blood is going to pump up into this trunk, like a tree trunk, but it's called the pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk has deoxygenated blood. Notice it's blue. And it's going to pump blood into this vessel and this vessel to bring deoxygenated blood into the lungs to pick up oxygen. Those vessels are called the pulmonary arteries. There's one going to the left side and there's one going to the person's right side. So there's a right pulmonary artery and a left pulmonary artery. Then the oxygen, the carbon dioxide is dumped here, the oxygen is brought in, finds a way into the pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins are red. The pulmonary veins come in to the left atrium. And there's pulmonary veins on this side, and there's pulmonary veins on this side. Notice they're red. They're carrying oxygenated blood. These veins, remember, veins bring blood to the heart, arteries carry blood away. Okay? So the pulmonary veins bring oxygenated blood into the left atrium. Then they go into the left ventricle, up into the aorta. This right here is the aorta, right there. Aorta, or the arch of the aorta. And the arch of the aorta has these branches. We'll call them number 1, number 2, and number 3. We'll go through those shortly. These are going to go up to the head and the neck, and they'll also find a way into the left and right arm. Then they go down this large blood vessel. They go down, 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 and they'll find a way to bring blood into the abdominal organs, and then they'll eventually split into the legs, both legs. Okay, so now let's take a look at this flow again, and it's important to understand this flow. So I would probably pause this after you watch the recording, and we'll watch it a second time, third time, whatever it takes to really be able to draw this out yourself. So I'm going to pause here. We're going to start a separate video on just the flow of the heart, blood flow through the heart.